What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday night. We're back to our regularly scheduled programming, but we do have a new signing that we're going to talk about live for the first time as the Blazers went out and signed Blake Wesley. Played for the San Antonio Spurs the past couple of years. He will take up the Blazers' 15th roster spot. I'm just happy it wasn't Delano Banton, who was apparently untouchable last year, and now will he be in the NBA next year? We'll see. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Blazers' new jerseys. Blazers' new jersey. We're going to react to a new jersey. The live chat had a lot of fun with the way I titled the stream because they thought I was talking about the state of New Jersey. No, the Blazers got new jerseys, and basically they just minimalized like the rest of sports graphic design does nowadays. So we'll give our thoughts. We'll have you guys grade the new jerseys in a chat poll. But man, it's been a wild past 3-4 weeks for the Portland Trail Blazers. Young Hansen on draft night. The trade for Drew Holiday a couple days before draft night. And then Dame comes back after Ayton gets bought out. And then you got Blake Wesley. Intriguing young player. A nice little signing that the Blazers made with the end of the roster spot. So this team has given us a lot to talk about. Eric, what's going on, man? How is your Thursday treating you?
It's going good. What's up, Tori? What's up, chat? Hope you all are doing well. How are you, Tori?
I'm good, man. It's always a busy day when I have to eat my dinner while we're live on the intro animation. So sometimes there's days like that, man, where I literally can't eat until we're live on the intro. So been a busy day for me. Stream's going live a little bit late because of it, but shout out to you if you're here in the live chat. Shout out to you if you're watching back after the fact. We appreciate it. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Man, it's going live for this stream feels like kind of finally winding down. We're back to our regular stream time, and man, it's just been absolute chaos. They still gave us topics to talk about. We'll talk about the new jerseys. We'll talk about Blake Wesley. We'll also talk about the national team stuff because Tamani might play for Belgium. We got Denny Avdia playing for Israel. I'm going to give my thoughts on that as well. Let's just start with the new jerseys. Let's start off light, then we'll talk about the Blazers' newest signing. So the Blazers have new jerseys. And actually, let me grab a picture of the jersey and put it up on the screen for any of those who have not seen the Blazers' new jersey. Now, it was announced somewhat recently that the Blazers were going to get new white and black editions of their uniforms. Every year, there's always the city edition. There's the PDX carpet version of the jerseys that rotate every year. We always know those are coming, even though the Blazers are still going with the red pinwheel jersey, and they went back to the PDX carpet jersey. So those jerseys we've seen before. This time, they switched out their regular what used to be called home and road uniforms, but now they wear random colors all the time. Yes, it's like icon and association. And Eric, when I heard this, I was already kind of bummed out because I feel like you can only make it worse. Like I thought the jersey they had before was pretty perfect, but they, I guess, wanted to make a little change with the jerseys. So I'm going to toss it up on the screen right now, and you guys can judge for yourselves. Of course, give your thoughts in the live chat on what you think of these uniforms. So this is what we got. The old jerseys on the left, the new jerseys on the right. Basically, the change is the Blazers got rid of the accents, the red and gray accents around the arms and the neck for both uniforms. And the sash had red, black, and a thin strip of gray. They basically got rid of that thin strip of gray and made the red and the black a little bit thicker. Those are the two changes to the Blazers' uniforms. I gave my opinion on it on Twitter, so if you saw my tweet, you know how I feel about it. I don't know how Eric feels about it, but Eric, what do you think about the change of the jerseys and this little update to our icon and association uniforms?
I don't have a huge problem with it. They're fine. They basically look the same outside the trim, like you mentioned. So I don't think you're going to notice like a huge difference on the court or anything like that. So yeah, very slight adjustment. To me though, I don't think you can like come out with new uniforms and have them basically look the same as the old ones. Like either switch it up or don't switch it, in my opinion. So it's kind of like, what was the point of updating them to just slightly change them? Like I was like you, cautious about them updating them to a different jersey because the Blazers have had some really cool jerseys throughout their history, stuff like that. But I didn't think it would be a bad time to add a new jersey to the repertoire. But like, so now we're basically just having the same jerseys slightly updated. We're sticking with the same. I don't really like the red jersey all that much. And then I do like the PDX jersey, but it's a retread. So I think we're just I don't know, not very creative with the four jersey selections in my opinion this year, and I just kind of left wondering what was the point.
Yeah. I think the jerseys as a whole are fine. I and this is just my true honest opinion. I think the change is terrible. Listen, I'm a bit of a graphic designer. I do it for my day job now a lot. You guys know if you follow the channel how much work and effort I put into my graphics, right? So maybe this is just being nitpicky as somebody that does design things. Like if I voted in the chapel, I'd probably say an F. I just don't understand the point. It's NBA jerseys just have this trend right now of going to completely minimalist, and I just feel like the tops of these jerseys look a little bit more like a practice uniform. And that's the thing, is like when you go minimalist, it starts to look a little bit more like a practice or summer league uniform. I thought the accents contributed to the jersey. I don't really understand the need to get rid of them. I think the biggest thing that I don't really like is getting rid of the gray in the slash, or whatever you want to call it, the stripe. Like I just don't really understand the need to get rid of that. And just go with two thick stripes that are the same size. I hate change for the sake of change, and that's what this feels like. And when they announced that they were going to get new uniforms, I was like, the best case scenario is they just like barely change it, because I thought the last uniforms we had were absolutely perfect. Like I love the Blazers branding, the logo, the uniforms that they had before. I still like their uniforms. I'd still take their uniforms over a lot of other teams' uniforms, but it's just like, why? Why even make this change? What is the purpose? Like, you could not have made a bigger change without, like, taking away from what makes Blazer uniforms great, in my opinion. I know a lot of the older crowd wanted to go back to, like, the vertical words and, like, different versions of very old school jerseys, but I think in 2025... The jerseys they had before were great. So I just don't understand the change. I'm not a fan of the change. I hate when teams like minimalize their logo even more and minimalize their jerseys just for the sake of minimalization or minimization. I can't even minimize the word minimization. I keep saying minimalization. Just don't like the change. Not a fan.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If the Blazers just came out in those jerseys next year without saying a word, how many people actually notice that they're different? Like, I mean, obviously, like most of the people watch this show will probably notice because, like, we look for that kind of stuff, and like obviously it would look, you'd be like, wait, what's different? But I'm just talking about like a majority of the fan base who just watches games casually or whatever. Do you think most fans would notice the difference?
I think so. I don't know. Like, I think so. I think it's going to be a bigger visual change on the court than people realize.
Yeah.
Because, like, any angle, like, you only see the slash if if the player's, like, facing the camera, right? The accents go all the way around. Like, I think when you see these jerseys from the back, because you don't have the slash going in front, you just have the black name, the black number, having the accents around the neck and the arms being absent, that's when you're really going to notice it. So,
I was just like thinking in my head of like what they could have done. I haven't thought this out too much, but
I don't know what you can do.
you know how the pinwheel is like 5-on-5?
Yeah.
What if the pinwheel was the stripes and the 5 things just kept going around? Like,
I saw a mock-up of that, and I thought it looked horrible. I think, like, in theory, it's cool, but, like...
yeah. I
order
never saw
to...
nothing of it.
Yeah, so... In order to do a jersey like that and make, like, the separation between the lines noticeable enough for the concept to work, it has to be too thick, basically. Yeah. Is the tough thing with that. So...
Yeah.
Anyway, I love talking. I do like talking about new jerseys because the graphic designer in me comes out, the critic. So it's cool. It's whatever. At least they didn't get rid of the slash. That's why I was really worried. Of like, man, if they really change it, just imagine if they got rid of the slash, which they can never do. I don't think they can ever do that. Like that is unique to their uniforms, and it's what makes Blazer uniforms. Like alternate uniforms, I get it, whatever. But, like, their main uniforms need to have that. Absolutely need to have that. I don't think you can ever get rid of that. So, it's not like you have a whole lot to work with around their main uniforms. So, it's the one thing I like about the Blazers is they have stuck true to their branding pretty much forever. They've had the pinwheel. Yeah, they tilted it. They changed it a little bit with their most recent logo update, like 7 years ago, but... They've stuck true to it. They just need to stick true to the jerseys. It just sucks to see a little bit of minimization of it.
Some minimalization.
Yeah, that's a tricky word for me.
Yeah.
But chat poll, what would you grade it, Eric? What would you grade the change?
It's a C for me. Like they're fine. I'm not like, oh my god, these suck or anything. They're still cool. I think. Like I said, the Blazers jerseys in general are cool, but I'm not like excited about that little of a change, and I'm not. But I'm not like. I don't think they're like horrid or anything. So yeah, I'm just right in the middle. Just like a lot of things, Blazers just kind of meh.
Yeah, I will say I like the red jerseys more than seemingly everybody. Like I think they're solid, and everybody seems to hate them. So, yeah, I don't mind the red jerseys. I don't really understand the hate for the red jerseys. Some people say that looks more like a practice jersey. Like, that looks like a practice jersey, and I don't know.
See, I think the red ones look like a practice jersey.
I think that's just because the logo's on the front, but I think, like, the striping down the side is cool, and I like the name on the back. Like, I don't know. I don't hate them. I don't know if I like them, but it seems like everybody hates them. I'm like, they're okay. So, I guess I just disagree with a lot of people.
For me, I forget which 2K it was, maybe like 2K20 or something, but like I remember like designing jerseys on there for a while, and it had like kind of a version of the red ones with like the logo really big on the front, but it was like black and it had the regular colors of the logo, not just an all black logo, and or an all white logo or whatever, white numbers. And I don't know, I thought it looked cool, and then Blazers came out with like a very like I don't know plain version of it.
Yep, I graded an F. I was disgusted by the minimalism. Disgusts me. I had people on my Twitter like, "You're being dramatic." You said disgusted. Minimalization disgusts me. That is, and you know what? If it doesn't disgust you, great. I am definitely more nitpicky with this sort of stuff than most people. So I will own
we
it.
all know you were going to complain no matter what the jersey was.
I like the accents so much that I just hate everything. Yeah. That's why I'm criticizing the change or something. No, I would grade the old jersey an A. I'd grade this one a B, maybe a B minus. Like. Still good. Still a good uniform. Change is just pointless. Anyway. That's my thoughts. Jersey Karen. You know what? I'll be the Jersey Karen. I'm cool with that. But this reaction was in the script. You got me. Anyway, chat, Chat poll results are in. 16% graded it in A, 31% graded a B, 40% graded a C or a D, and then 11% graded it in F. I wanted F to be its own option because that's what I was giving it. So,
yeah.
I mean, more like almost half the people graded an A or a B. So, half the people are happy. That's usually good, right? If half your fan base is happy, is that the bar for the Blazers? Please, 47% of the fan base.
Maybe, but to me, I don't know. I would feel like most teams, if they came out with a new jersey, now this is just a small poll of like 140 people, or how many people voted or whatever. But I don't know. To me, if Blazers said they were going to update their jerseys, then only 47% of people really liked it. I think that would be a failure of the design of the new jerseys.
Well, you know what? They could go the route of the Utah Jazz, get like rebrand to highlighter colors and have some really bad jerseys like that. And then if they went to this jersey, I'd be grading it in A, the change in A. So at least we're not going that route. The fans would be really happy. I think I'm really happy that the Jazz are going to go away from that crap, man. I'm really happy that they're going back to their purple uniforms this year. It's a lot nicer. I'm happy to not have to put that ugly yellow in the thumbnail for a Blazers Jazz postgame.
Yeah, I think Utah had a good rebrand. I mean, we'll see, I guess, on the court, but I kind of liked Orlando's rebrand too. Going back more to the pinstripes and stuff, but yeah.
You know what I'll say though? Now that we are rerunning the PDX carpet uniforms, there better be a court to match it. Because you already did this. And the last time we had the PDX carpet jerseys, like, why don't we have a court to match them? With the paint being the PDX carpet. And then, like, black around the outside. I don't think that's too much. I think that'd be kind of sick. And it's a secondary court. There's some wilder secondary courts. They need to do that for when they wear the PDX carpet uniforms at home. Because it's weird having a green and black, like, PDX carpet uniform on a red court. So, if they don't do that, that's going to be disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people probably don't want a PDX carpet alternate court, but I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to wear those, but have, like, the red court. So, like, it just kind of clashes color. But
yeah. I mean, and if you have, like, who knows what they're going to do with their main court this year, but if you have black all the way around the perimeter, you can just switch out the paint and, like, maybe the logo at half court, you know? Don't have to do too much. But anyway, the Blazers signed someone not named Delano Banton. So Joe Cronin went out this offseason and signed 2 free agents that weren't his own free agents. Although, can we count Damian Lillard as not his own free agent because it's Damian Lillard? Or, like, how does that work? But technically, 2 players that weren't Blazers going into this offseason, Joe Cronin signed. So, round of applause. He did some stuff after draft day and signed 2 players. And they're 2 good signings. So, you know, I'm happy with this signing. I want to hear your thoughts on it, though. The Blazers signed Blake Wesley. It's just a minimum contract. He was traded from the Spurs to the Wizards because the Wizards just wanted to have like 18 people on their roster for a second. They got bought out just because they had a roster spot issue, but that didn't mean that he didn't deserve to be on the end of an NBA roster. And he's a seemingly solid defensive piece that shot 37% from 3 last year, so he's a little undersized. You shaking your head? Is 37% incorrect?
yeah, he shot 29% from 3.
Why did I see people saying he shot 37% from 3? Was that in a half a...
Because the Shams tweet was like post All-Star break or something.
Oh,
like
post All-Star break. He shot 37%
like
from 3.
Second. Yeah. He's a terrible shooter. He shoots 62% from the free throw line, 29% from 3.
Okay.
And those matches career numbers as well.
See, this is what happens when I try and be positive. I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
So you only like it because he thought he was 37% 3-point shooter?
I know he struggled with his 3, but like last year I didn't know his percentage off the top of my head. He wasn't a bad 3-point shooter as a rookie, though. He was 38%. And then year 2, 21.8. Year 3, 29.3. I'm glad you shook your head. You should have cut me off because I'm not trying to spew incorrect stuff here as I'm trying to hype up a signing. But yeah, he didn't play much for the Spurs. He's still only 22 years old though. Had some good defensive tape. I watched some of his defensive tape. Now they were highlights, of course. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt. I need to see him actually play. And he only played 11.8 minutes per game last season for the San Antonio Spurs. They drafted him in the first round, 25th pick of the 2022 draft. I always remember him coming in with Malachi Branham, who they took with the 20th pick. And it's funny, is both of them got traded to the Wizards in the same trade. But neither one of those guys really panned out the way the Spurs were maybe hoping. Branham, I think, was a little bit more renowned as a prospect. I remember he was getting lottery buzz, and people thought he might go as high as 10 in that draft. He fell to 20. Blake Wesley was less renowned, but he's 6'3" without shoes, so he's undersized 2 guard. But I like bringing in a guy who, by all accounts, he's a very high character guy and plays really hard and plays defense and is 22 years old. Those combinations, I think that's a great thing to have in the locker room, in practice, to challenge starters, a good defensive energy guy, uplift the energy of practices. And then you just hope that you can teach him how to shoot. Given that he was a 62% free throw shooter and 63% for his career and is 29.7% career three-point shooter, I mean, the signing is a little weird given the shooting need that the Blazers have, but I don't think they were going to sign somebody with the 15th roster spot to come in and actually be in the rotation at all. I had hopes of an Amir Coffee, but the Blazers go in this direction. I'm fine with it. I like it as a 15th roster spot signing. Eric, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't mind Blake Wesley, like you said, as the last player on the roster. However, I don't know. His skill set is everything the Blazers don't need, and I know you just mentioned that he's probably not going to play much, but if they're not going to play at all, I don't get not signing the shooter. He's not. I don't think he's a true point guard either. So if Scoot or Drew is out, we still don't have an actual backup point guard. And then it's a guard who can't shoot. And even if you just want to say, okay, maybe he figured out some shooting stuff at the end of last season, and it's still, shooting 37% because you're left wide open from 3, isn't exactly going to space the floor, as we've talked about with other players. So to me, it's just kind of, it obviously fits with their defensive plan to get another active body on that end. But to me, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it fills any of the things that the Blazers needed potentially out of just a player that could come off the bench and maybe shoot the basketball. Especially with Dame being out this year, who the heck do we have that's going to be potentially a 40% three-point shooter on this team? You're muted.
I get where you're coming from. It's a need for this team. I just don't think the last 15th roster spot, well, I guess it will be the 14th roster spot next year. It's that was probably not the right thing to rely on filling that need. The last signing of free agency. I mean, we've seen this team sign Moses Brown as the last signing of free agency. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a super high quality player, and that's the thing is let's say we wanted Doug McDermott, he returned to the Kings. Maybe he would have still returned to the Kings. Maybe we did try and sign Doug McDermott, and he wanted to stay with the Kings. There is that possibility. And there isn't a ton of good shooters out there. Amir Coffee is kind of the one guy that really intrigued me to potentially fill that role, that played some minutes last year on what became a playoff team. It's still very surprising to me that he's still unsigned. But I think he's good enough that he could potentially have multiple suitors, and maybe Portland knew they weren't going to be one of them. I don't know. Like, it's just all kind of speculation and guessing at this point. So I think, so that's why for an end of a roster spot, I am cool with it. And I think the Blazers are just going to have to bank on guys improving their shooting internally. And a big guy for that is Shane Sharp. Like, Drew shot 35% last year, was 42% the year before. You hope that he's a 36, 37%er. Same thing for Tamani, same thing for Denny, same thing for Scoot. He was 35% last year after being 32% as a rookie. So if he can get to 36, 37%, that's, less of a jump than he took last year, and that would be good enough. And yeah, you still don't have the guy that's going to really like run off screens and knock down threes. Maybe if Sharp takes a shooting jump, he can be that guy because he takes some ambitious threes. I think part of the reason why his percentage is what it is because of the types of threes that he takes. He takes some difficult ones. But, outside of that, it's like, yeah, that's a role that's missing that I want this team to fill. I think that's kind of a different conversation. Like, do you have enough shooting to space the floor in a half-court offense on the court at one time? And if you got a bunch of guys that can shoot 36%, I think that's, like, enough floor spacing. Like, you kind of got to respect the 36% shooter. So that's my hope. And I know there's, like, nuance that goes into it. Like, Drew Holiday last year when he had a defender within 6 feet was a much worse shooter. But the year before he was like 40% in that category. So it's like, what is he as a shooter? There's some question marks with like Drew and Shane Sharp shooting the ball, and then Scoot hopefully continuing to progress and not like regress to kind of where he was as a rookie. So there's definitely some question marks in that regard going into the season, but I feel like this team, this organization is just hoping, which maybe isn't the best thing, but they're just hoping that internally they have guys that get into that caliber of being a three-point shooter, because I think if you had the names that I listed as 36, 37%ers, it could be fine. Not necessarily a strength, but just hopefully not a weakness.
Yeah, I don't like that. I think you need to have someone who's more of a lights out, and I don't think a group of players that can all shoot 36% because they don't get guarded very heavily on their people go under screens and stuff like that. To me, it doesn't scream a lot of good favor for their three-point shooting, even being mediocre. I don't know.
Well, if somebody's consistently if somebody's running pick and roll and they're 36% shooter and they shoot 36% every time their defender goes under pick and roll, isn't that punishing that? Like, is that good enough a percentage to say that they're punishing that?
I mean, analytically it might be, but just in terms of like trying to maximize your offense and do different things, I don't think that's good enough. Unless it's like maybe if you're shooting like 10 threes a game or something, I don't know. But like if you're shooting 4 or 5 and you're shooting 36%, I don't think that's optimal.
I think it's just a read though. Like, defender goes under, you pull the three, and if you're still able to get downhill and get into the paint, then it's fine that he went under. You still got downhill, right? It's like, okay, who do you have around you? And if they're left open, if they're shooting 36%, 37% on open threes, like, is that making the defense pay for collapsing? Because the problem is if you have like Chris Murray in the corner he's shooting 29%, the right play for the defense every time is to leave Chris Murray open from three and just send whoever's guarding him into the paint to help and deal with drives and clog things up in the middle. So that's how I kind of think about it.
Yeah, to me it's just like 36%. A lot of these guys, that would be like the best possible outcome, and so that's asking a lot for all of them to shoot that well. So I don't know. I don't have faith that they're all going to be decent enough shooters at the same time.
Yeah, I mean it's a little, I guess, ambitious to hope that all of them become good shooters, but it's also a little ambitious to like think that you're going to fill that need and fix things there with a 15th roster spot signing at the same time.
For sure.
Yeah. So, like, either way, it's definitely a big question mark going into next season, no matter who they signed. Even if they signed Amir Coffey, it's like, are they even going to play him? How many minutes per game would he play each night? That's a big question mark going into next year.
To me, if I could have chosen, I would have picked just like, if they can't shoot, I would have picked like more of a true point guard that could at least run the offense. Maybe trying to think of someone. I don't even, is Alfred Payton like with someone, but like that type. If I was going to go for like a defensive guard, someone who could actually dribble the ball up the court more consistently. And then if I was going for shooting, I would have gone for someone like Alec Burks, or someone who shot over 40% last year and who's actually a good proven shooter. Don't have to hope that he shoots 36%. And so I don't know. I just want to, like, I understand they're not going to play much, so it doesn't matter. But if they're playing, it's because we have injuries or something happened. So I would like it to be someone who could actually like kind of help contribute. So hopefully Blake can improve those areas. And it's young. I wanted some different guys on the end of the bench, some kind of flyer guys.
Yeah.
And he's certainly a good one to take a shot on. So I'm not like saying it's the worst move or anything. It just doesn't really accentuate any of the weaknesses that they have.
All right, so we'll run a chat poll. Grade the Blake Wesley signing for the Blazers. All right, so chat, you guys can vote in this poll. Eric, what if you had to give a grade? We love giving grades out here. If you had to give a grade,
I'm going to give another C. It's just math for me. It's like, it's not good. It's not bad. It's fine.
I'll give it a B plus. I'll
give
it a B plus. You know,
that's he's a 37% shooter, right?
Yeah. You know, and the script writer really messed up when they put that in the script. So, chat, vote in that chat poll.
To me, this signing, it's more the implications on several fronts that signing a 15th player does. One, it shows what they thought of Delano Banton. Just to bring in someone else that's potentially like a worse player than him. Like that and then to have Banton not even be signed yet just seems a little weird. I saw someone, I think it was Fun P, saying in chat earlier that the Celtics regretted trading Banton. Is like, well, then why didn't they re-sign him? He's been available.
Why has nobody signed him yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we hover on that for a second?
Yeah.
My goodness, was he just the epitome of a fan base overhyping a player that was not a good NBA player? Just because he could go on a heater once in a while and that was really fun. And then has a cool nickname, DB Hooper. Like, I feel like people thought he was a lot better than he was because of vibes. I really do. Because last year, let's just, we're going to put a bow on his tenure here. Last year, this guy shot 32% from 3 and 39% from the field. 44% from 2. True shooting percentage of 49.7%. His career true shooting percentage is 49.5%. He's extremely inefficient. I mean, now I guess we have our new inefficient scoring guard for fans to fall in love with, Eric. But yeah, he's extremely inefficient, doesn't play good defense. Like, he averaged, in 17 minutes a game, he did average 2.5 assists, but his assists were like, oh, he can't get a shot because he's triple teamed. Like, a pass is a last resort type of thing. I just don't understand why people thought that was good. It always kind of baffled me. And yeah, he'd go on a heater every once in a while, and he'd be good when he was hot, but more than often, he was a guy that just took a bunch of shots and missed a bunch of shots and didn't really contribute elsewhere and hurt the team because of it. So, rooting for the guy. I hope he finds a spot where he can maybe develop, but he hasn't really taken steps forward. As I said, like his efficiency is right in line with where it's always been. And a big part of it, I think, could be shot selection. I think if he picked his shots better, he could be a more efficient player, but he really made no strides in that regard since the Blazers picked him up. So just don't really understand the Banton stands, if you want to call him that. I don't really understand why he was so loved by a section of this fan base. We had people calling him untouchable and a part of the core last year. And it's just funny how it's like, yeah, nope, the Blazers are just going to sign Blake Wesley instead of him, which is fine. They gave up a pick that won't convey for Banton and took a flyer on him, and it didn't pan out. Cool. Take a flyer on another guy. That's exactly what they should do.
Yeah, absolutely. They also moved on from Jabari Walker this offseason. So, yeah, going to have some new end of the bench guys. It's always good.
Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add on Banton? Like you agree with me, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think his ability to score is, I wouldn't say worth a team having, but like I understand why a team would have him on the end of their bench. But I think if he's a rotation player on your team, you're probably not a really good team.
yeah.
So, yeah, and honestly, he still has a few years to get to where Banton's at, but I mean, so far Blake Wesley has been kind of like that too. So I'm not trying to say that Wesley's like better than Banton or anything, but he is a little bit better defensively at least. So get that going for us.
I would rather have like a high energy defensive guy who struggles shooting and trying to teach him how to shoot than like a player like Banton who like is probably an okay shooter but doesn't shoot the greatest percentage because he takes a lot of bad shots and then struggles defensively and decision making and in all those areas. Like, I think it's better to have a guy like Blake Wesley in practice and training camp with that end of the roster spot. I think that's why I like the signing, was because I do like having him more than Banton.
Yeah. Yep. So I think the biggest part about this, though, is the Blazers just, I don't know, it's kind of random to just sign a 15th guy, because in any Jeremy Grant trade scenario that's been bandied about, it's almost always a 2 or 3 for 1 type of trade. And now that we've signed a 15th roster spot, that seemingly, in my mind, almost guarantees that Jeremy Grant will be on this roster this year.
I was going to say, can I tell you what I told people in like December? Like the Blazers are stuck with them.
Yeah.
The Blazers are stuck with them. I
don't
know how many times I've said that, and it's like this signing, yeah, they have no more roster spots left. And then Chauncey try to like make sure that when the Summer League announcers are talking about the core next year, that they include Jeremy Grant's name. I don't know if you caught that on one of his Summer League interviews, Eric, but there was like twice where they're talking about players, and he's like, and Jeremy Grant. Yeah. They are stuck with him. They absolutely wanted to trade him. He had an awkward exit interview and talked about like struggling with the changes in the offense, and the Blazers have 2 better forwards than him, making a lot less money and who are younger. The Blazers, it's just proof that he has negative value. It's proof he has negative value, because if he didn't have negative value, why is he still here? And I'm sure the people that said, oh, the Blazers could trade him, will now say, oh, yeah, but they like him. Why trade him for worse players? They're trying to be good next year. They'll find a way to excuse him being on this roster, just like they'll find a way to excuse him if Chauncey Billups starts him on opening night and Shaedon Sharpe and Scoot Henderson are still coming off the bench in year 3 and year 4.
Do not start the dude, please. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Do not start the dude.
Like, if he can be effective off the bench, great. Like,
Yeah.
Cool. They're stuck with hopefully you get something out of him in a role that makes sense. Like that's all you can hope for at this point.
Once we sign Dame, I mean, maybe not this season, but it does make sense because, like, let's just say, even if the Lakers are willing to give us a first for Jeremy Grant still, which they're not, but like, let's just hypothetically they were able to give us a first, and we got the Vanderbilt, Kleba, uh, Vincent package for him. That doesn't help the Blazers. What, we're going to play Chris Murray and Vanderbilt as our backup forwards? Then, like, it doesn't really help. So I think the best version of this current roster, um, unless you somehow traded like Robert Williams for a forward or something, I think you kind of need Grant to be your third forward. Like I said, it better be off the bench and not starting over someone who we actually need to break out to take that next step.
Yep. Absolutely. Um,
But
I
it does seem kind of weird to do that for Blake Wesley, to just like close the door on that. It just shows you that they had no traction on a trade whatsoever.
Yeah, they would have traded him by now if they had traction on trade.
And
The Lakers are preserving cap space for, I believe, the 2027 offseason. I've heard some people say next offseason. Jeremy Grant doesn't help you preserve cap space in either offseason. He's making 32, then 34, then $37 million a year, with that last year being a player option that he'll obviously take because he's obviously overpaid.
yeah, Arrowhand asked if Grant sticking around could be him being a Portland native. He was here like as a baby for
Yeah.
like what, a year or something before his dad got traded. So it doesn't even. It's not like he grew up in Portland or something.
I'm
If
as
you want to
much
say
of a
that,
German native as he is a Portland native.
like, if you want to say like Demonis Sabonis coming back or something, someone who actually like went to school here, Clay Thompson, or like
Yeah.
Kevin Love, like those kind of people, uh, actually grew up in the Portland area and stuff. But like, yeah, it's not. I don't even think he would consider himself a native Portland, other than being a like accepted one now because he embraces the lifestyle and the community and stuff. But yeah, Drew Eubanks, there's another one. Thanks, Chase.
True. Yeah.
The Shaq, the Troutdale.
No, I mean he got paid a great contract. Shout out to his agent, and now that contract's immovable, and he's gonna hopefully have to accept a lesser role off the bench, and hopefully he provides some of that shooting. Like that's the thing. When I was talking about the shooting and guys being 36, 37%, I did not talk about Jeremy Grant. He was 40% his first 2 years in Portland, and then 35% last year. Hopefully he gets back up to 40%. Because that's the thing that was brutal about last year is like he was not helping our shooting problem.
No, not at all.
So anyway, excited to have
But
him back.
so the other thing is, I don't know if this is what because we were talking about what we were forgetting to talk about.
Yeah.
So Casey Holdall, I don't know if he's just like carrying water for the Blazers or what, but Dame's comments seem to implicate this too. But it seems like they're keeping Drew and he's not available, and they're talking about him like he's going to be on the team. But that also, I mean, Drew's contract is very similar to Jeremy's, so uh, you're talking 2 or 3 for 1 if we're trading him, most likely. So all these trade scenarios, especially like the one that came up at the end of last stream, like, did you guys see the tweet that the Lakers are trying to get Drew and stuff? Like all that kind of stuff seemingly would be more difficult now, and wouldn't make sense that the Blazers would cover that roster spot with if they were trying to move him, because there's not many players that the Blazers would want back for Drew that make similar money that they could just trade out 1 for 1. So I don't really get why people think he's going to be traded because I feel like this signing kind of cements that he's not going anywhere right now either.
Yeah. I mean, when they traded for Drew, it was very obviously not the type of move to then flip Drew. Otherwise, it probably would have been a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
There was
Toronto,
no draft
right?
pick involved. Yeah, it wasn't like there was a draft pick involved that they needed to get the deal done before the draft. And that's what we try to articulate to people. Like, they like Drew. They think he's going to be a great mentor for Scoot and Sharp. They think he gives them more of what their identity is. They want to be a great defensive team, and having Drew Holiday instead of Anthony Simons helps you take a legitimate step that direction. Now, at what point do they compensate for the offense and figure things out there? I mean, I think it's basically where they're trying to make the defense as elite as possible, and then they're hoping some of the young guys break out or develop enough that they can have a good offense behind an elite defense. I think that is truly the formula, and I think bringing Dame in is also like, hopefully he can kind of still carry an offense. Because if you had Prime Dame with this defense, that's probably a contender. Because Prime Dame, even with some mediocre role players around him, that was basically a top 5 offense. Just having him and a guy like CJ, right? It was just always the defense being absolutely terrible, which was the problem. So, Dame's not going to be like 32-8 Dame, but if he can be 80% of himself, 75% of himself with Drew, there next to him, then the Blazers are going to have to figure out probably something with their guard. I don't really see how they can make all 4 work with having Dame, Drew, Scoot, and Sharp, but that's basically the thinking. And Drew just fits in perfectly next to Dame. I think he fits in really well next to Sharp and well next to Scoot too. Maybe Scoot might be like the clunkiest fit there, but on the other end of the floor, Drew and Scoot, I think, are going to be a pretty good defensive backcourt. I think Drew's doing a lot of the carrying there, but I think Scoot can hopefully be a legitimately positive defender this upcoming season. So, yeah, I mean, they have a year to figure out what exactly they're going to do with their guard situation going into the following season when Dame's healthy, but Drew absolutely factors into it.
Do you guys think Dame will accept his player option if he's 80% of himself? I mean, the player option's for his 3rd year, so he's definitely here 2 seasons. I don't think even Dame would tell you what the answer to that question right now. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. It seems like now that he's back, he wants to stay here, but I mean, things can change at any point. And now that he's left once, I don't think it would be that far out of the realm of possibility if this team doesn't end up panning out that he tries to win a ring somewhere at the end of his career. But I don't know. I feel like he's back, and it's not dependent on how good he is or anything like that. It's just he wanted to be back here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we might have Blazers playing for national teams. Denny Avdia with Israel, Toumani Camara with Belgium. I know I don't really want to go into like the Denny Israel thing. I know that's like a touchy subject and not really the place to go into stuff like that. I think all I'll say as far as Denny goes, like, just because he plays for a national team doesn't mean he co-signs everything his country does. And it's the same way with the USA. Like, the U.S. has done some terrible things before, right? Like, if I put on a Team USA jersey, it's to represent my country. It's not to co-sign everything that they've ever done. And that's just kind of how I view the Denny thing, and I can't blame him for wanting to play for his country, right? He had a quote basically talking about how important it was, and I feel like it kind of got a little bit misquoted in the way it was like, oh, it's more important than the Blazers. But regardless, like, I don't blame him. That doesn't mean he's not committed to Portland, and he works his ass off, and he represents, I think, the Blazers well on the court. He plays hard. He seems like a good guy in the locker room. So, looking forward to seeing him play basketball. I love watching that dude play basketball. And same thing for Tamani. If he's playing for Belgium, he might be the guy there, which would be really fun to see as well. So the Blazers have a lot of international players. You got Young Hansen with China. Like, how many players are we going to have in the Olympics? I don't think Belgium will make the Olympics, but we might have multiple guys playing in the Olympics coming up. So that'll be interesting. The Blazers have a lot of international flavor on their roster.
Yeah, Young might play in the Olympics, but I think this summer he said he's going to just come back to Portland. He went over to China to do something, but I think he's going to come back and train in Portland the rest of the summer and not play in the Asia Cup or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We got the Olympics are in LA next year, yeah?
Yep.
Or is that 2028 in the World Cup?
It's 2028.
2028, yeah. I mean, maybe Young's really the next Jokic and he's an all-star by then and he gets to go to battle, and hopefully we have somebody on Team USA.
Next year is when the World Cup.
Yeah, the World Cup.
Soccer is here, yeah.
Which, I don't watch a ton of soccer, but I love watching the World Cup. So I want to go to a World Cup game when it's here. Like, that's on the bucket list for sure. And I want to go to an Olympics game. Just good experience to just see what that's like, just because it's a unique basketball experience. So I want to do that in 2028. But Arohan says, Israel and Belgium are in the same group. That game should be fun. Tamani guarding Denny would feed families.
Clamps.
Dude, I don't know what time that would be, but if it's at a reasonable enough time or like a weekend, I might be down to do a watch party for that. That could be pretty fun. Just to watch Tamani versus Denny. Is that game scheduled? Let me know in the chat. Because I assume the game's probably already scheduled. So, like, what time, Pacific time here in Portland, and what day is that on? I want to know. Because we're getting into the dog days of summer here. The moves are seemingly complete. The Blazers have a full 15-man roster. Yeah, Dame come back. We heard his comments on Monday. We reacted to his press conference. He had more comments he was doing a camp for kids, and had more comments, talked about how he was renting Drew Holiday's house when he was in Milwaukee. This is something that NBA players do a lot. Myers Leonard rented Hassan Whiteside's house when he got traded to Miami for Hassan Whiteside, and Dame apparently hated the Wi-Fi. So Tuesday, September 2nd. Yeah, what time? What time, though? I need to know what time. But yeah, like we're getting into the dog days of summer, so we'll still come heavy with the streams, and we'll do some fun things like we always do. But that could be like a fun thing to look forward to, watching some actual basketball in September, because that's a rare thing.
Right.
That wasn't even the thing in COVID year, right? When was that finals? Maybe that finals was in September? I don't remember. 2 p.m. Pacific?
Which finals?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to live stream it then. 2 p.m. Pacific on a Tuesday, September 2nd. Yeah. That's unfortunate. The finals of the bubble year.
Oh. I think it was like July and August was the bubble, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then like the playoffs going into the finals was like drawn out. Yeah, I don't remember. Which I'm glad I don't remember that year. Yeah, August was round 1, so yeah, they were probably playing in September. Cool new background, says Eric. Yeah, I started building out my background, and I'm planning for channel members to drop just like a video, basically, of me building out my studio. So if you're a channel member, you'll be able to watch that. Just a fun little thing because I've lived in this house, renewing the lease right now actually, so that's cool. But I've lived in this house for 10 months and have done basically nothing to build out the background, which is just a shame. So we got a painting that my girlfriend painted for me back there. Maybe I'll show it off on the stream. I'm going to show it off on the stream. She's a good painter. So if you want some art, or somebody you know wants some art, let me know. I'm her salesman. But yeah, so we got that in the background. We got some Rui Hachimura shoes in the background. Those are the gold ones. I got some Ruis in the background, Eric. And then yeah, basically my goal is to make this closet look not like a closet as well. So that'll be an adventure. But background too bright. I need to get like a new and better camera. I need to get a new and better camera. That's what that is.
Keeps refocusing the stream.
Yeah, I don't know why. I know Borna was in here telling me that. But new camera. I can also... Oh, my phone's dead. I was going to say, I can also change the colors with my phone. So what I want to do is get a lighting setup connected to the stream, be able to like change things on the stream and the lighting with it. That would be kind of cool. So anyway... We haven't answered your questions. We'll answer your questions here for a little bit. It's been a minute since we've done like a true Q&A. So, you can ask us questions about anything. We'll answer your questions for 15, 20 minutes or as long as you ask them. And, yeah, that's going to be the rest of the stream. Unless there's anything else you wanted to get into, Eric.
Nope. Like to talk with chat. Will Shaden play for Canada? I don't think there's a Tournament of Americas or anything this summer that anyone cares about, at least. So who knows? How many tradable firsts do we have? We have 4 tradable firsts, despite what ESPN or whoever that was will tell you.
Prediction on number of wins next season.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read that because my headphones weren't in, but I guess we can start doing that now.
I set you up and you changed the subject.
I changed it. What'd you set me up with?
According to ESPN, we only have 3 first-round picks we can trade right now. Tori, do you want to correct that for our audience?
So, yeah, ESPN doing ESPN things. The Blazers have 4 tradable firsts, so they owe their 2026 first to Chicago. That's lottery protected through 2028, and then becomes seconds, right? So basically, they can't trade like a 2028 Portland first or a 2027 Portland first. It's not like a tradable first, okay? And you have to have a first every other year, and basically, you can't trade all your 2029 picks and your 2028 Orlando first because if you're Portland, you might owe a 2028 first to Chicago based on the protections on that pick that's owed. So there can't be any potential circumstance where you could end up not having a first-round pick in back-to-back years. So that being said, the Blazers have a 2028 Orlando first, which they can trade. They have 2 picks in 2029. So given that they might not have their own 2028 first and they're trading the 2028 Orlando first, they have to keep a pick in 2029. But they can trade one of the 2 picks they have in 2029. Yep. So that's 2028 Orlando first. That's 2029 first-round pick. And since they have a pick in 2029, they can trade a pick in 2030, and then they can trade a pick in 2032 because they'd have a first every other year. So that's 4, if you're counting at home, 4 tradable firsts.
And for the record, that 2029 would either be the best of our pick, Boston and Milwaukee, so whatever 3 of those teams end up with the very best, or the worst of those 3 teams. We can trade one or the other that year. And then that means we still have a guaranteed first, even if it's the 30th pick, or by then might be the 32nd pick or whatever. But we definitely can trade 4 first right now due to the fact that they picked up that Orlando first. Now, if you change the protections on the Chicago pick, or you like somehow give them one of the picks in a year, we might be able to trade 5, or 6, maybe even depending on what happens. So but 4 or 5, realistically could be opened up.
But right now it's 4, and ESPN says 3, and rank the Blazers like 11 out of 14 rebuilding teams. I don't know, man. Like it's almost like the media thinks that the Blazers are going to be worse next season, and I mean they did make a lot of their progress on the backs of an 11-game sample size. Like let's just be real. Outside of that 11-game sample size, they were 26 and 45. So, and in that 11-game stretch, they're playing a ton of teams at home, a ton of teams that were injured, a ton of teams on the second night of a back-to-back. Like, the schedule lined up in a way, and they took advantage of it. You got to give them credit for taking advantage of it. So you can't just, like, sit there and write that off, and that's not really what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to contextualize it. But, like, yeah, maybe you could make the argument that they overachieved a little bit to get to 36 wins. But they also tried to lose, like, the last 5-6 games as well. I just don't really see how you can predict them to be, like, a bottom 5 team in the league. I've seen some predictions like that. My win prediction next year? This is, like, the toughest year to predict wins next year, Eric. Chat, leave just your number of wins, what you predict the Blazers will win next year in the live chat. Do you want to give your prediction first? And this might change by training camp, by the way, so this is not going to be a set-in-stone prediction. This is just what we feel like right now.
I'll say 38.
I was going to say 39.
Yeah.
The West is just super tough. But also, I either want to go with like 39 or 43. I don't know. Like, part of me like, yeah, this team can be a top 6 defense and a 20th ranked offense, and that's probably like a 43 win team. That also might be a 39 win team, so we're really just splitting hairs here. But that's kind of my range, but I'll stick at 39. Last year, obviously, my win prediction last year was like 26 or 27. And they won 36, so if they win 9 more games than 39, they'd be a 48-win team, which might be the 9th seed. Might be the 9th seed. I don't think they'll be... Oh, Eric got collab camped. I don't think the Blazers will be a top 8 seed. I think they'll be the 9th or the 10th seed in the play-in or 11th or worst. I don't know what one, but like I don't think they'll be quite good enough to be a top 8 seed going into the play-in. And I'd love to be wrong about that. I'm rooting for them to win next year. I'm going into next year like, let's win as many games as possible. I haven't gone into a season like that in quite a while, so I'm excited and I'm embracing that. But realistically, I just think the West is too tough to get into the top 8. I think they'd be top 8 in the East. I don't think they'll be top 8 in the West.
Yeah. Also, that article also had like Dallas as like the second best rebuilding team. In what world? I mean, I know they got Cooper Flag.
Just because they got Cooper Flag.
It's just weird, man. They're doing everything but rebuilding and just got lucky to move up to 1. It's not like they're building some.
I mean, if you're just ranking the situations of the lottery teams, like, I guess, but the Blazers have, like, adding that Orlando pick is just another asset that they kind of needed.
Yeah.
And adding Dame is just like talent for free, basically. So, you know, it's just not going to show up this year. But like next year, there was a question basically like what we think Dame will be next season. Like if I had to guess, I think he'll be like 20-6, 21-6.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll handle the ball as much. Like he'll still have the ball a lot, but I don't think he'll be handling the ball as much. And I think he'll play like 30 to 32 minutes a game and average like 21 points. But also, would it shock me if he averaged 26 points per game and 7 assists? No. No, like if he just, even if he lost a little bit of a step, but it was just like, we know how elite of a shooter he is, and like if he can still make a killing off that, So it wouldn't shock me if he was right back to being an all-star and averaging 26, and yeah, that's not Portland Dame, but like without Giannis, he was like 31, 32 points per game, so if he's down to 26, that's like 80% of Dame, right? So that's my hope, of course. It wouldn't shock me, but like I'm going to go a little bit more conservative with that.
Also, I think a lot depends on what happens with Scoot this year. If he breaks out, then he can handle the ball a lot more, and Dame can be used a little differently. If Scoot, has a rough season, or let's just say the Blazers decide to go all in on the Dame timeline and get rid of one or two of their young guards, then maybe Dame's more of a focal point and can average more. But I don't know. We don't even know how well he'll move after he comes back yet, or what our guard situation is going to be. So it's kind of tough to know that a full year ahead of time.
Are you guys worried about his shot with how much of his lower half he used? He'll tell you this, like deep threes, a lot of it's actually core strength. Like hips and core. So, and it's not like he's not going to be able to jump, especially like from a standstill. The pull-up stuff where he's like flying off a screen and like planting hard and rising into that, like maybe that's a little bit of an issue, but what they say about Achilles tears is a lot of it is mental, and I trust Dame to be able to handle that aspect of it. It's just like how limited is he in terms of like the athleticism with that leg. It's going to be interesting for sure, but I'm not going to worry about him shooting the ball. Like if he has to adjust, he'll adjust. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Durant talked about like how he had to adjust, like take a couple movement shots out of his arsenal just because he couldn't do it the same way post Achilles tear. He's still an elite shooter at his size. Like Dame will figure out the shooting part, is what I think. But yeah, Samuel, as he says in chat, says KD said part of his calf has never come back to normal. He says, weird. I know our muscles' legs are not totally equal when it's dominant and bigger. Yeah, I didn't really know that until Kevin Durant said that. I don't really know how that necessarily, like, how much does that affect you? I assume it's just not as strong. It was Dame's right Achilles, yes?
I don't remember. What's the top of my head?
I'm trying to remember because the play, he like batted the rebound after he took that negative step. Chat, somebody in chat will know. Look at us just relying on our chat. Think it was left. He gets tired way quicker and cramps. Yeah, that's the thing with I think he won't be back to playing 36 minutes a game, but you might not need to. Like, you have guard depth, especially. It also wouldn't shock me if, like, next year we have Dame, Drew, Scoot, and Sharp. And they're just like, yeah, Sharp's going to play a decent chunk of minutes at the 3, and Dame's going to play, like, 30 to 32 minutes a game, and Drew's going to play, like, 29 minutes a game, and that's how we have enough minutes for all 4.
We did have a member message at the beginning of the stream from Javon.
Yeah, shout out Javon.
He asked, who do you all got in the Wiz and Hornets Civil War?
The Wiz and Hornets Civil War. Which team do you think is better?
I guess they're arguing on Twitter. Their fan bases.
Arguing which team's better?
I guess they have a fan bases.
Yeah. We got 5 people arguing on Twitter. Just kidding. Which team is better? I think the Hornets have more top-end talent. I think the Wizards have better depth and veteran presence.
I was to say that same thing. I think if healthy, I think LaMelo is better than anyone currently on the Wizards. But the Wizards have a lot of young players that are looking pretty good, and I like what they're doing with their cap situation, setting themselves up to be players in trades and things like that. So I just, if I'm just like, which team is rebuilding better or has a better chance of succeeding in the rebuild, I think it's easily the Wizards.
Yeah.
If they played like 20 times fully healthy, I think the Hornets would win a series or whatever. But
yeah, I think any
right
random
now,
game next year, I would probably pick the Wizards because I just assume LaMelo's hurt.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him. And the Wizards have like Chris Middleton and CJ who are still like solid players. And Trey Johnson could be a really good rookie.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, but he looked pretty good in Summer League as well. And I think Trey Johnson was the type of guy they needed. Like, they needed a guard that could just get buckets. But also, Colin Knippel looked pretty damn good in Summer League. So, don't want to write him off. Man, Knippel would be perfect for this team, dude. Like, when things inevitably go bad there, he's going to be a trade target in, 4 to 7 years, I think. We'll be having a conversation. Remind us in 4 to 7 years about this clip when we start talking about Knippel trades, all right? Dame probably won't be dunking as much, but shooting should be the same. His rehab is 1.5 years, right? Yeah, I think, assuming he's out for the season, he won't have to push himself for a while, so he can maybe try and take the time to rebuild that strength and rebuild that calf. And I don't know, Dame's going to put in all the right work that he needs to, and he's going to take care of his body, and he's going to be mentally strong through this type of adversity. He almost embraces it. When he got hurt, he even said his first thought was I get to come back from an Achilles tear, which is kind of insane. Kind of insane. And I say that in a complimentary way. So, yeah, if there's any guy that, at 36 years of age, his game can bounce back from this injury, Dame's right at the top of that list just because of his shooting ability, his mental, he's probably going to have a whole year and a half before he has to play real NBA games. And he's in a situation where, he doesn't have to play, 36 minutes a game. No team is going to expect him to play that amount of minutes. There's just a lot of things that line up, I think, for him to be serviceable and, a good starter at the very least. I don't want to be as bold to say, star, because I do expect, obviously, a bit of a decline, but I think he'll be a really good starter. And getting a really good starter a year from now for an MLE that represents the city the way he does, leads the team the way he does, great mentor, that's a bargain. I did not understand the media questioning the Blazers' move and the cost of it.
Yeah. Dame's out there shooting threes in at his kids' camp.
Was he?
Probably not a good idea. He shot 1 3. Of course, he cashed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably not the best idea to do that.
He's out of the boot. So, yeah, I don't want to... I don't really want to see him doing that. Don't risk anything. Be safe. please be safe. But yeah, it's good to see him out of the boot. You've probably seen it, but Tori, did you see you were featured in an Enjoy B-Ball edit? I saw I was in a Numbers Never Lie edit, and I saw I was in another TikTok edit. Some page called like SP Prods, like for productions. They got like 600K views. I had somebody in my rec league was like, Tori, I saw you in a TikTok edit. Which is always crazy when people just like stumble.
Lillard is a once again, or yet again.
I mean, obviously that was a great intro, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll pat myself on the back for that one. It was just pure excitement and adrenaline. That's what that intro was. That's what that stream was for a good 30 minutes, was like just pure bliss. Which I don't know if I've ever had a stream where I'm just like 30 minutes of just pure excitement and bliss, man. So it was a pretty unique one. So shout out to those of you who were there for it. But yeah, I guess I'm Hollywood now, is Gabe would say. I'm Hollywood. Showed up on numbers on numbers on the board was what it was, not Numbers Never Lie. Numbers on the board, yeah. The Kenny Beecham podcast. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Are we done making moves? I'm so ready for the season opener. I would bet that they're completely done making moves. I'd be very, very, very surprised if they made another move, but I've been very surprised this entire offseason, so. The least surprising move they've made is signing Blake Wesley, which is crazy. They have a Portland fan on that pod. Yeah. He has some interesting takes. Trevin. Don't we have to cut someone to add Blevins and make Dame happy? I mean, Blevins isn't eligible for a two-way anymore. I don't think so. They're not going to do that with a real roster spot. Nathan Rolfe. I didn't want to say it, but that's the vibe I get too. Grant is here to make Dame happy? Or is Dame here to make Grant happy? Is Grant happier now? Do either of you have interest in ever getting your press credential with the Blazers organization? Yes. Will they give it to us? Probably not. I would love to have that access just for you guys. For the channel, like, you know, I'd love to get more into radio and more into, you know, actually like covering the team in person. It would be pretty cool. I also, if I had a credential, I would love to have an intern at a college somewhere that's like in a journalism program trying to go into this line of work and doing it like the traditional college route sort of way. I would love to be able to give them like access if possible to go like cover the team on a game day and just get good hands-on experience, and like be able to have them stream interviews straight to me that I could play live on stream and then like check in with them maybe after that. Like that would be, I think, a cool thing to do here and there, just to give somebody like a legitimate intern like deep into a journalism program that opportunity. It's always something that I wanted to do. I don't know even if I got press credentials if they'd let me do that, so it's just a pure thought. But yeah, like, who wouldn't want credentials? So I'll try this year, but I lost out to Blazers Edge last year, apparently. So, you know,
they got their credentials back.
Yeah, you didn't know that last year?
Uh,
I'm cool. I'm pretty cool with the guy that got them. Like I've talked to him before. He's a cool guy. Um, Talked to
well,
him a bit after that, but
that was their falling out with Olshey is when they
yeah.
started ripping credentials. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, I mean, they have one. Locked On Blazers has one. I don't see a reason that we should not have one. To be quite honest with you, like I don't think there is a.
We're not journalists.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, Mike Richmond did used to work for the Oregonian, and I guess Blazers Edge is journalism. So basically, I just gotta start writing on BlazersUprise.com. I need to like rebuild that website this offseason. But yeah, I guess that's what I gotta do. Brendan, you're funny. He's gonna be Young Hanson's sidekick. Thanks, Viper. Appreciate you. Maybe now that Dame is back, they won't be scared you'll roast them every press conference with how they wronged Dame. We got a chance. Listen, if they said like, yeah, you can have credentials, but we don't want you answering it. We don't want you asking any questions. I'd be like, sure, bet, fine. Like, I kind of just want it for the access more than anything. Would be great to be able to ask questions, but
I mean, that'd be kind of a crappy thing for them to
it would
say.
be, yeah, it wouldn't really be like a valid thing for them to do, but like just, I just want to have access, man. Like,
Yeah.
So, and it's basically just to be able to like, have our own recordings of interviews that we can react to, and like just to do more with the channel. It's not like it'd be cool for me, but it'd be mainly for those of you that watch the channel. But we work with what we got. If we don't get it, like we'll still kick ass, and that'll be that.
Here's the thing, like, I mean, I know most of you know this already. I'm not saying anything, but like if I was in the press conference, I'm not going to be a dickhead. Like, I'm not going to be like an a-hole.
Yeah.
Be like, F you, Chauncey, you suck. That's my question. Why do you suck so bad? Like, we're not going to be stupid with it, you know?
I mean, yeah, like we obviously would.
like
Obviously we'd be professional and wouldn't want to give up the reputation that we are just YouTubers that don't belong, yeah, that's the last thing we want to do, right? So there's no valid reason, I guess, other than like they're only YouTubers, they're not journalism, they don't do written content, like but
I mean, I would like let's just say the Blazers struggle mightily on offense again this year. I would love to ask Chauncey, like, so where's the disconnect that, like you said, you wanted to improve all these things, like, why isn't it translating to the court, that type of thing. Not like a disrespectful way, just like,
yeah, it's all about like phrasing,
like basketball X's and O's type questions,
yeah, like, if they're struggling offensively, it's okay, you said you wanted more half-court movement and said you needed to improve offensively in your exit interview last year. How do you feel like that's going? Do you feel like you're accomplishing what you needed to improve upon? And how do you feel like that's translating to the court? Like, after a game where they struggle offensively, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's a very fair question. It's just asking him about his past comments and how he feels like he's, progressed. And you just hope you get an honest answer. It's kind of a tough question, but it's not like a disrespectful one. It's not it's a valid question in that sort of situation. So it's all about phrasing. But yeah. Taylor Packer says that I would say, Chauncey, according to Brant's breakdown, you are one of the worst coaches in the league. What are your thoughts on that?
Check that in league history.
Or I could take after somebody else and like give a long-winded opinion and then like Yeah, you agree with that, right? Basically, because that happens a little bit. Give an opinion, then just seek validation. Elizabeth Allen says the live streams are pretty much a type of podcast format. Why don't you guys publish to podcast platforms for more exposure and more ways to listen? We'll actually probably have people doing that for us next season, so that's fine. Might be early the morning after, a late post game show, but yeah, I fully expect to have somebody that'll do that for us. It's just an extra thing to do for me.
I would just ask every player why they yell when they dunk.
Why don't you yell when you dunk? For those who don't. But yeah, we'll have a pretty cool presenting sponsor this year that's already lined up. I'm gonna try and get a couple more local sponsorships, and then hopefully we'll have a podcast on all platforms, and then I want to try and do more video. I already kind of know how I'll be able to hopefully do that without having to commit a bunch of time to it, because that's just the problem. Time is the problem. Streams a lot of times, these late night streams are the first time I slow down all day, especially on a Thursday. So yeah.
Those aren't local, Eric.
Yeah, those are chains. I'm talking a local restaurant downtown, somewhere we can host a watch party that is also willing to do some sponsorship stuff. I think that would be super cool. And I think that would be a good business decision for a local restaurant, the official restaurant of Blazers Uprise.
The biggest platform in Blazerland.
Here's the thing, I run influencer marketing campaigns as my day job now, so I know so much that I didn't 2 years ago. So that'd be great. We'll see. But either way, the content's gonna be fun. I've already planned it out. Super fun to plan it out. But I also know what I can and what I can do and what I don't have time for. So I'm not gonna even announce it in a trailer. You guys will just get videos as often as I record videos and the post game shows and watch parties here and there. I put a nice TV in this room for a reason. Our Brant's Breakdown's going to come back next year.
More than likely, if we're playing better and competing.
I'm wondering if
the breakdown. Oh, here's this awesome player, a crappy defensive possession, and when they lost by 47 points.
Yeah. Just wondering if we could get away with showing a clip. I don't know. I don't know.
Could.
Yeah. If we did it a particular way. Maybe we put a TV screen in and record it. I don't know. That might be a move. Record TV screen. I don't know how it'd show up, but could be fun. Because it just sucks doing screenshots compared to it would be so much easier to explain stuff with actual footage. We'll maybe test some stuff in that regard in preseason. First stream I ever watched was Eric breaking down a play. It was good times. Viper says, regarding marketing, ever consider running Rip City Reddit or Facebook ads promoting the channel? Rip City Reddit doesn't like our channel, so I don't think that would be very effective. And yeah, like Facebook ads might grow it a little bit. Like I do like just growing it organically. Because it's a decent amount of money to run an ad, and it's not like even if I get a few subscribers, I'm making that money back, which like if I had a lot of money, like I'd run this channel at a loss, no problem. Like no problem with that, but yeah, it's just I found out about the channel through people trashing you on Rip City Reddit. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Well, thank you for coming and checking us out and not destroying us. We appreciate that. Anyway, we'll have more streams where we just kind of sit back and talk to chat like we have been. It's always fun to do so, but that's gonna wrap up the stream. Anything else, Eric?
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Appreciate you all. Hope to see you back on Monday. Probably not going to be any major Blazer news to have a breaking news stream. But Monday we'll be live, and then I'm going to be out a couple weeks after that. So
2 weeks, huh?
yeah, I think I'm going to miss 5 streams.
5 streams?
Yeah.
Damn. Maybe we'll take Collins one of those streams, and then I don't know. I'll have to figure out what to do.
You take a vacation?
Yeah, maybe I should take a vacation. I don't know. Like 2 streams a week is not much, though. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Wait, why vacay? Why not vacay? Why not take a vacation in August? I'm jealous of Eric taking a big vacation. I need a big vacation. Unfortunately, I can't take one. So, hopefully you enjoy. But yeah, we're out of here. Hit a like on the way out. We'll be live again next Monday, unless the Blazers make a trade. I'm gonna stop saying that after right now, because I think they're done making moves. Yeah. So we'll catch you Monday. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Thursday night and a good weekend. We're out of here. Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!